various species of sea turtles have been in the ocean for tens of millions of years. They've survived very well, one of the great survivors of evolution. Up until now. This species, which has survived so much, may not survive us.
It is the happiest place on Earth, containing 5% of the world's biodiversity, with more than 500,000 species. Experience nature like never before.
Going to give you guys a bit of a rundown on what has been happening here. This is a very different campaign compared to any other Sea Shepherd's been a part of.
This year is my first time as ground leader on a Sea Shepherd operation. Last year I was here for 2 months on Sea Shepherd's Operation Pequari, which ended up being a very successful campaign where we saved over 3,000 hatchlings from being poached.
Las tortugas sufren de muchísimos problemas. Hay que recordar que son animales altamente migratorios y tienen ciclos de vida muy complejos. Entonces, prácticamente cada etapa de su ciclo de vida tiene una amenaza. La tortuga viene a anidar a una playa, tiene amenazas de que la gente se quiere comer la tortuga, los empresarios turísticos quieren desarrollar estas playas para turismo, la gente se quiere comer los huevos.
Turtle egg. Do I eat that? Kelly will. No, what's the eat that, everything?
Lo que pasa es que no solo es ilegal, sino que es tolerada y en todo lado venden huevos de tortuga.
Está comiendo huevos. La señora y el señor están comiendo huevos.
Tonight, patrol will be happening. It is very difficult for us to gauge what beach we'll be on. We are under the control of the element. We were unable to patrol for nearly 3 days because the rivers were too dangerous and the boats were not able to go out.
Poaching here in Costa Rica in general is quite a big problem. The biggest problem that the turtles are facing here is that there's no government assistance, and if there are laws in place, there's no one enforcing them.
Quíteme la grabación.
Hey, no le grabe.
This is a problem. It's a lack of political and economic will to enforce any conservation or environmental regulation worldwide. They're practically meaningless because nobody's enforcing them. So they're there, it looks great on the books, but it's the Wild West and people do whatever they bloody well want to do, you know, and get away with it.
Cuando entro a trabajar en una comunidad o en una playa de anidación, lo primero que se hace es estimar el éxito de eclosión. De cada 100 huevos que pone una tortuga, ¿qué sucede con ellos?
Oh, you're talking delicious. Doesn't even need salt or pepper. It's like already got the flavor. Nothing like a turtle egg for breakfast.
Cheers.
Invariablemente, cuando entramos a trabajar y no hay protección, el saqueo es 100%. Si no hay protección, saqueo es 100%.
We haven't done this beach before, but there's 3 sections. There's section C, section B, and section A. In total, from here, it's about 5.5, 6 kilometers to the end of section A, which is where we're going to go. We've got 2 poachers right here. So yeah, to section C, we've got a poacher right behind us. A massive leatherback turtle come up on the beach just here. This is quite a good little spot. This is quite a nice flat area.
Shine the light at that poacher's face, please.
And then at the back here, you've got a bit. One of the big differences between Sea Shepherd and some of the other organisations that are actually already here is the fact that we don't compromise in any way. We won't allow a single egg to be taken if we're present, and we won't allow a single turtle to be killed. Some of the other organisations see this differently. They follow what they call the poacher's law, a rule that says whoever comes to a nest first has the right to that nest and what's in that nest.
The police. The police. The police. Police. Police.
Please.
Okay. You guys want to take a seat?
It has been a tough campaign so far. Every day, you know, something else pops up. We get a little bit further. The other people that we're, you know, up against, the poachers, there's other organizations that are working to stall us. And now we have the government authorities, like the police, also stalling us.
Porque hay biólogos nuestros, inclusive, y otras instituciones que le van a pedir los permisos.
That was just ridiculous.
Sí, es para evitar todo esto. Introduce, ahí está.
Looks to me like this is a leatherback nest. The poachers have been in and taken the eggs while they were messing us around.
Another one here.
Yeah.
They couldn't find the eggs, they searched. There.
Yeah, they found the eggs over there. There we go.
What's this? Yolkless eggs, poacher. So while during the time we're on our way to this nest, so they stalled us and this nest got poached. We're fighting a war with the country now, not just the poachers. Now we've just lost up to 100 leatherbacks.
Oh, that's the poachers.
Es sumamente peligroso ser ambientalista en Costa Rica. Yo lo he dicho muchas veces, ¿quién protege a quienes protegen el ambiente? No, en Costa Rica hay un déficit bastante de fiscalización y de protección a grupos ambientalistas.
The attack was really, really surprising. My My personal opinion was that the threat was purely that, just words. I trusted these people from this island. I worked with them last year. I lived with them last year. We were just finishing a patrol, coming back down one section of the beach closest to where all the houses are from the people that I worked with last year. And then the 5 people attacked.
Keep up.
Un patrullaje en el refugio Barra de Pacuare se vio interrumpido la noche de este jueves. Miembros de la organización Sea Shepherd denunciaron un supuesto ataque.
They shone their flashlight in my eyes, hit me several times with branches, struck the media team, and then continued the attack even after warning shots had been fired in the sand by our security guards.
Fuimos sorprendidos por un ataque de siete individuos que estaban ahí.
I believe that our team on the beach in Costa Rica was attacked because we are having a direct impact. Anytime you start interfering with people making money and profit and the greed that goes along with these illegal acts, you're going to upset people.
We are not going to back down. As I said before, we are here to protect these turtles, and these threats are just another part in the chapter in the defense of these turtles.
Do you know about Jairo Mora? You heard about Jairo Mora?
I did hear about Jairo Mora. That is why Sea Shepherd has named this campaign Operation Jairo in memory and dedication to continuing his vital work. It is a tragic loss of life.
Moín is a beautiful, or was, a beautiful, untouched paradise. So untouched, so much jungle, so much beauty, like you would see so much just being there. It was such an amazing place.
Nosotros empezamos a construir en Moín como una atracción turística, hasta que nos llevaron a Buda, que es una perezosa de 2 dedos, y entonces ya la cuidamos y la cuidamos también, que ya la policía empezó a llevarnos también más perezosos, monos, todo. Y luego empezaron a venir más animales y Vanessa y yo, que somos amantes de los animales, empezamos a hacer el centro de rescate. Y mi hija Vanessa empezó a salir en la noche a la playa a pasear y descubrió que ahí desobaba la baula.
When I met Jairo, I didn't know anything about turtles. Before this, I studied fashion design. I had to be trained so that I know how to measure turtles and how to handle eggs and move to hatcheries and all that. And Jairo was there. And we didn't get along at that time. I thought he was just like a snobbish boy, and we didn't talk, and he thought I was just, you know, little like Princess La La Land that wouldn't survive in the beach like first night. Moín had 2 groups of poachers. The Guti gang, poachers living at the beach and living day by day picking up coconuts. And then Matute's group was the ones that were really involved with the drug dealers. They care about having big money. These were guys that were patrolling in a 1982 pickup truck and 2 brand new 4-wheelers. So I had my first biologist, and he left 2 weeks later. I told him, listen, I need somebody with balls that is gonna be as passionate as I am about the turtles and who's gonna suck it up. And he told me, I have the guy Jairo. And I'm like, really, Jairo? And he's like, he's used to fighting poachers. And I'm like, great, send him over. You know, all the beaches are dangerous, but Moín went to a different level. Moín getting shot at night was normal. And we walked the first night, and yeah, we got shot at and followed. And he actually, when he came back, he was laughing and happy. And he says, Amen.
Para mí Jairo era un hijo más. Cuando mi nieto llegaba de la escuela, se tiraba a la piscina con Jairo, jugaban fútbol juntos. Para Vanessa era como un hermano, o sea, era parte de nuestra familia. Vivió 3 años con nosotros, pero él parecía que hubiera vivido toda su vida.
Moín was Moín. It was war every night. This group of poachers that were really like the dangerous one started taking more and more control of the beach. It just became crazier.
Entonces nos robaron el vivero y amenazaron a los voluntarios con AK-47 y todo. Empezaron a amenazar a Jairo y a Vanessa con una pistola de que si no dejaban la playa, que esa playa era de ellos, no era de Vanessa ni de Jairo. Y todo empezó así.
For Jairo to tell me that he was scared, that's an understatement, because Jairo was never scared. In 2012, we had 6 volunteers mugged and tied, and 1 volunteer almost got raped, and it was horrible. And after that incident, it all went downhill from there.
Él me dijo, a mí me amenazaron con una pistola aquí, Marielos, yo no voy a ir a la playa solo. Él pedía ayuda en la computadora, por favor, ayúdennos, las tortugas están solas, ayúdennos. Y nunca, es que nadie se preocupó.
One of the Coast Guards was very close, and he came to my doorsteps and cried and asked forgiveness because he said he knew something bad was going to happen.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a story about murder, criminal gangs, and turtles. In the sandy setting for this violent conflict, Costa Rica, where poachers with alleged links to local drug gangs.
When the police called me, it was actually the comandante who called me. I blamed him at the moment. I screamed and I blamed him for Jairo's death, and today I still do. It is the police's fault for not giving us the support we needed.
There is war being declared on environmental movements all around the world, but all this is predictable. I mean, we could see this coming from 40 years ago, you know, that this is the way it would happen. When you start to threaten the dominant paradigm of society, you're going to become a force to be reckoned with, and they'll do everything they can to destroy you.
Conservationists are always in the crosshairs of somebody. There's a war on nature unfolding in front of our eyes. And there are those who are the warriors for nature, such as Jairo, who is senselessly gunned down and beaten by those who are committing the war against nature. That's a really disturbing thing because, you know, we're doing things that are protecting the environment for all life to exist on this planet, but yet there's no justice for those of us who are subject to that type of hatred.
I didn't know there was so many people that have been killed and so many people that have been hurt in Costa Rica protecting wildlife. For me, I was stunned. I was like, where are we living? What's going on? And even after what happened to Jairo, like, it still goes on. You know, it's conservation. It shouldn't be life and death.
Hasta después supe que me lo habían torturado, que lo habían asfixiado en la arena, que lo habían arrastrado. O sea, él tuvo una muerte espantosa.
Yo creo que el caso de Jairo Mora es el ejemplo típico del caso del efecto Cassandra, donde él decía, mire, por favor, intervenga el gobierno, hagan algo. No le hicieron caso hasta que llegó a una situación de que lamentablemente lo mataron porque trabaja en materia ambiental y esto choca con los intereses de algunos grupos que podrían ser narcotraficantes, podría ser personas que tengan megaproyectos y que en la zona donde estemos trabajando los ambientalistas les estorbemos.
Jairo Mora fue pues, una verdadera tragedia, especialmente cuando vemos que ahora esa misma playa por la que luchó Jairo ahora está siendo desarrollada para construir una terminal holandesa y que está destruyendo literalmente la playa.
World trade is a vital force driving the global economy. For shipping lines, our global terminal network of 50 ports in 34 countries in 5 continents is designed around trade lanes and covers both emerging markets and mature markets.
Jairo empezó a generar datos en la época que él monitoreó, identificó hasta 1.200, 1.300 nidos de tortuga. El hecho de haber identificado uno de los sitios con sus datos tal vez más importante de conservación de la tortuga baula en el Caribe.
The studies that me and Jairo used to make was basically showing where the turtles nested most, how many turtles were actually coming to Moín, and the seasons and the years. You know, there's years where we get more leatherbacks than other years. There's areas of the beaches that you get more concentrations of turtles in that part than in other parts.
A Jairo lo mataron, no se suicidó y tampoco lo mató su organización. Es de suponer que todos estos intereses empresariales que hay sobre la playa, que son muchos, más bien tuvieran que demostrar que no fueran los asesinos de Jairo.
Bueno, yo no creo que eso haya sido ningún plan malévolo de algún gobierno ni nada, simplemente delincuencia común. Pero donde uno ve que absolvieron a estos delincuentes y que hubo un manejo tan pobre y tan inepto de las autoridades de la prueba, que lo hace uno pues sospechar qué es lo que está pasando aquí.
Yo estoy totalmente convencida de que eso fue un homicidio político. A Jairo necesitaban sacarlo de ahí porque esa playa la necesitaban libre. Ahí no querían que hubiesen más tortugas, no querían que hubiese más protección de ese desove, no querían que hubiese ningún ambientalista, ningún ecologista protegiendo ese ecosistema.
Muchos dicen que fue APM y el gobierno, y yo estoy de acuerdo, puesto que si Jairo no hubiera muerto y la policía hubiera seguido llegando, hubiéramos salvado muchas tortugas y el megapuerto no se hubiera podido construir.
I think Jairo's death did help APM in many ways because there was no more patrolling of the beach, there was no more studies during that time. I cannot prove it, but I do believe people could have paid those people to do something. I don't think it was killing Jairo. I think it was scaring him off the beach. It just went too far.
La presencia del imputado necesariamente para que él pues se entere cuál es la imputación.
Yo estuve en el juicio de Jairo, frente a frente con los asesinos, y no vi la mirada de odio en los asesinos que vi en la mirada de odio de los holandeses. Y luego yo les dije, ¿sabe qué? Para mí ustedes y el gobierno son los responsables de la muerte de Jairo. Te lo juro por Dios. Me dieron una mirada horrorosa cuando les dije que ellos eran los responsables.
APM Terminals es el primer megaproyecto de Costa Rica. Los impactos ambientales que se puedan generar durante 33 años, que es lo que se supone que está previsto que dure la concesión, pueden generar daños ambientales que son irreparables, irreversibles. Si nos ponemos a pensar de lo que existe actualmente y de lo que viene hacia el futuro, es terrible.
Antes de APM existió un proyecto de Isla Moín, que eran unos condominios con una marina a la par de nosotros. Y se lo negaron por el que estaba el humedal. Ahora yo me pregunto, ¿por qué a APM no le negaron el permiso habiendo el mismo humedal? ¿Cómo fue posible que ellos tuvieran el permiso contra todo eso? No, y con la baula enfrente de la playa. No es posible que eso no lo hayan comprado totalmente.
APM terminal is done, it's there. They already destroyed the beach, there's pretty much no way of stopping it. I still think it's courageous for those who are trying, but I think our window passed.
Entonces, ¿qué es peor? ¿Luchar contra hueveros o permitir la destrucción total, la eliminación de una playa de anidación? Realmente es preocupante y, como decimos aquí en Costa Rica, con el asesinato de Jairo Mora todavía queda muchísima tela que cortar.
No les importa nada, solo el dinero. No les importan los animales, no les importa el ser humano, nada, nada. Yo espero que el día de mañana ellos tengan que comer dinero cuando no haya nada en el planeta. Solo eso espero. Es que la propiedad de nosotros era donde ellos iban a poner todo lo del campamento para los trabajadores. Y les surgía. Y nosotros, al no irnos, éramos como la piedrita en el zapato. Si nosotros no salíamos, no podíamos empezar. Luego llegaron en diciembre de 2014, se tienen que ir en enero de 2015. Eso fue todo.
That used to be the tree, since the name still by it. All this was jungle. Oh shit. Oh shit. The blue was my house, and the white was my mom's. And like you can see a picture of before and after, it's crazy. But all that was all like, why would they destroy so much? I don't think they have the necessity to destroy this much. They run Moín and it's pretty much their rules.
Creo que va a ser muy lamentable el día que por fin tengan APM terminado y hayan hecho todos sus desastres y vamos a empezar a ver todos los impactos y todos los daños y ni siquiera vamos a saber qué tan severos van a ser hasta que nos sucedan y nos revienten en la cara.
We lost Moín and we lost Jairo, so
We're on Moyne Beach at the moment. This is the road that we try to come down at night to help with the patrols. We've had some very heavy rain this past week. Especially the last couple of nights, and unfortunately this has actually destroyed half of the road, and half the beach that we'd like to patrol on is not even here right now. Low tide. We will drive as far as we possibly can, and then we will make the rest of the journey on foot. And if we're lucky and it's only 15 kilometres up, it'll only be 15 kilometres back, so 30-kilometre round trip over lots of obstacles, waves, and soft sand.
I went on my first patrol last night. It was a very long, very wet night. It didn't matter how I prepared for the conditions. I was soaked head to toe within just a few minutes, but it was totally worthwhile and reinforced exactly why it was that I came here.
I've been here through almost everything that has happened, like the attack and seeing almost every turtle that has come up on the shores since patrolling every night, kind of. But yeah, it's been good being able to keep up with everything, 'cause a lot happens every day.
Should get some food in, because dinner will probably be possibly in the rain with a packet of cookies, and that's the plan.
You're looking forward to that though.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. I haven't had a good walk in ages.
It's really nice in the rain having Oreos.
A nice rush of sugar when you've been walking 15 kilometres and it's raining. It's a good time to have cookies.
Grabbing dead coconuts to fill up these extremely soft muddy tracks so the car can get through on the way back so we don't get stuck. Yes.
Uno. Dos. Vamos. Dos. Tres. Vamos. Vámonos.
Joe, can I use your eye, Chris?
I lost my shoe.
Trace.
Bien, Sea Shepherd.
All right, dude, let's go murder some tortoises.
This is amazing, dude.
This is like easy money right here, dude.
I know, right?
Poaching turtles.
$500.
The speed that these turtles are being killed, the speed that these eggs are being taken, they won't survive without our help. There is no compromise with this. All sale of turtle eggs needs to be banned. On the Pacific side of Costa Rica, there's actually a beach where the government even allows the taking of eggs. If you go to any market in San Jose, there are bags of turtle eggs everywhere. If you ask them where those eggs came from, every single one of them will tell you they came from this legal beach.
Está comiendo huevos. La señora y el señor están comiendo huevos.
So this is the problem. Everywhere they're selling these illegal eggs, but when we ask where they're from, they will all say Ostrenal. Ostrenal is the name of the beach on the other side of the coast where the government actually makes it legal to take these eggs. This is the most frustrating thing, that these are clearly from this area, from an area where there's poachers everywhere, where these are probably endangered, well, definitely endangered, possibly critically endangered eggs, and he is legally able to walk around with these eggs, and all he has to say is that they're from Ostrenal.
Ostional is a beach in Costa Rica where arribadas happen, and that's where thousands of turtles just wash up to shore to nest, and they lay thousands of turtle eggs. So it was an idea that the community of Ostional could take a percentage of these eggs and sell them.
Pues lo que sucede en Ostional es una historia muy larga y también muy compleja. Las tortugas son filopátricas, significa que una tortuga nació en una playa de anidación. Si la playa tiene las condiciones adecuadas, la tortuga regresa a la playa donde nació, van a nacer muchas tortuguitas. Esas tortuguitas van a llegar a ser adultas y van a llegar a esa misma playa a anidar. Y si la playa sigue siendo buena, van a nacer muchas tortuguitas.
Es que Ostional es el único proyecto, legalmente,
Entonces,
en el mundo, no es en Costa Rica. Es un proyecto único y modelo, sostenible y racional, comprobado está.
De pensar que nosotros tratamos de legitimar una masacre como esa diciendo que se está generando empleo y que es un desarrollo sostenible. Con el robo de huevos, no hay otro término, el robo de huevos.
Ha sido toda una situación, ¿verdad?, de lo que podríamos llamar un conflicto socioambiental. Si se permite que la gente de Ostional tome los huevos para que los puedan vender, muchas personas digan, si lo están haciendo en Ostional desde el punto de vista legal, ¿por qué no lo podemos hacer nosotros?
No queremos combatir a la gente, no queremos combatir a las comunidades. Queremos combatir es el tráfico ilegal de las otras tortugas que están en peligro de extinción. Entonces, lo que necesitamos es parar el mercado ilegal de huevos.
Sea turtles have been around since before the dinosaurs, 160 million years or so. A turtle making a decision to put her eggs where she wants to, she's making the best decision she can based on her amassed knowledge from millions of years of existence.
They say there are scientific facts backing up Ostional. I think we're playing God. If the turtles are coming, if the arribadas are happening, it's for a reason. Every time humans think that they're better than nature, eventually we find out we're wrong.
Uno va donde venden huevos de tortuga, pueden ser de tortuga verde, pueden ser de tortuga baula, son de ostional o no, no se sabe. Nadie puede decir si son de ostional, no hay trazabilidad. Entonces eso me crea a mí un gran problema porque el costarricense tiene en su cabeza de que sí es legal comer huevos de tortuga.
I had a lot of fights with the people because of this. They thought because I was from the city and I was not familiarized with their culture that I didn't have any right to tell them that eating turtle eggs was bad.
En tiempo de verano.
However, many times I told them, you know, once they're extinct, is this going to make a difference in your culture?
La pregunta es muy buena, porque yo me la hago también. No te la puedo responder porque siempre me he hecho esa pregunta. ¿Qué irá a pasar si las tortugas se van? ¿Qué irá a pasar si las tortugas se van?
Todo lo vemos, la comercialización es la debilidad del proyecto, pero no es una situación, o sea, el culpable no es la comunidad, el culpable no es la administración del refugio, es la autoridad del país.
Ese problema que se camuflan los huevos con el tema de ostional es el problema que genera la ley, ¿verdad? O sea, hay un cortillo, ¿sí? Porque no existe la capacidad del gobierno, del país, para poder generar un control efectivo. Y ese es el problema.
Ese es el problema, o sea, no es un secreto.
Everything that happens because of this tiny loophole.
Ostional, cooperativa ostional. Asociación de Desarrollo Integral.
It is a big problem for the rest of Costa Rica.
Pero es que no podemos condenar a una comunidad por lo que pasa en otras.
No, y por lo que la legislación permite.
Por lo que la legislación permite.
Pero no que esa comunidad también tiene una responsabilidad de actuar en algo.
O sea, si nos vamos a poner a discutir de que si se debería, no se debería, se puede, no se puede, yo creo que pasamos.
No, yo solo quiero entender. No es de apuntar el dedo para nada.
Pero por favor, no me levanten la voz porque yo no estoy levantando la voz. Entonces, tranquilo.
Costa Rica sufre el mismo problema que sufre un paciente esquizofrénico, diciendo unas cosas por un lugar y haciendo otras cosas por otra, lo cual obviamente afecta nuestra credibilidad. El verdadero problema de ostional, por lo menos desde mi perspectiva, es la comunicación de conservación. ¿Qué le decimos a los ticos? Y para los ticos, comer huevos de tortuga es legal. No, solo de ostional. Sin ciencia, estamos diciéndole a la gente que está bien comer huevos de tortuga y eso está muy mal.
Hay una justificación. Está un permiso legal. O sea, no quiero que me vengan a tratar de convencer de que esto tiene que cambiar y que X fecha ya la gente no puede sacarlo. O sea, si mientras esté la legislación lo permita, yo creo que se va a dar, ¿verdad?
That market should be abolished. It shouldn't exist. When you have a so-called legal trade in wildlife, that's a convenient front for the selling of illegal products. And so it's very hard to determine what is legal and what is illegal.
Ostional, cooperativa.
Todos los días.
Todos los días.
Está lejos, ¿no?
Guanacaste.
Hey, no good. Okay, it's legal,
no good, amigo.
Legal, ¿no?
Los miembros de las comunidades costeras en Costa Rica, hasta hace 20 años, veían a las tortugas marinas simplemente como un recurso. Ahora que están bajo peligro, muchas veces vemos a los miembros de las comunidades costeras como parte del problema, y es cierto, pueden serlo. Sin embargo, los miembros de las comunidades costeras también son nuestros aliados. Si queremos realmente proteger una planeación de tortugas marinas, sin el apoyo de los miembros de las comunidades costeras, es imposible. Los miembros de las comunidades costeras pueden ser nuestros mejores aliados, pero tenemos que demostrarles que la tortuga sí les va a dar beneficios a ellos.
Ahora, hay hueveros, sí, pero, como le dijera, cuando entran proyectos buenos, se puede ir eliminando el huevero. ¿Por qué? Un proyecto no solo huevos, un proyecto no solo tortugas, un proyecto es desarrollo de un pueblo. Entonces, la gente le juntarían plata y con esa misma plata pagaría, de ahí sacarían guías de los hueveros. Entonces van a haber más guías y la conservación va a seguir. Pero ¿qué es lo que pasa? No hay guía, no hay trabajo y la gente tiene que ir a pulsearla. No se van a morir de hambre.
Hay dos lados de la moneda. Por un lado, el deseo de conservarla, que es un deseo legítimo, que es un deseo para todos, digamos, para la humanidad, para que la conozcan nuestros hijos. Pero el otro lado también, la desigualdad, la falta de oportunidades, la pobreza que vive la gente en las costas es el combustible que genera la depredación de la tortuga. Se aumenta la depredación de los recursos naturales, ¿verdad? Y esos son variables prácticamente que van de la mano. Entre mayor exclusión, mayor pobreza, pues mayor depredación de los recursos naturales.
Sí, yo vengo legal. Lora, legal, funcional. Ustedes no son de mi país, matan a los lagartos allá en los Estados Unidos. Vaya, proteja a los lagartos. Los lagartos los matan allá ustedes. ¿Quién hace nada? Aquí en Costa Rica cuidamos los lagartos.
Earlier on in the season here, we started patrolling on South Macquarie. We came across a nesting leatherback turtle. When my team got into position in a protective barrier, I lay down, dug a small hole, put myself behind her with a bag ready to start catching these eggs. As soon as I put my arms underneath her, she started laying. The weight of those eggs was incredible. We continued down to the hatchery with her eggs.
Sabemos que estos son cadenas y pirámides muy complejas que necesariamente si quitamos una pieza, la pirámide cae, se repone y podemos cambiar toda la dinámica de estas cadenas tróficas. El problema con todo esto es que no sabemos cuál va a ser el efecto de quitar una pieza hasta que la quitamos. Y ahí es donde realmente nos duele.
Nosotros no podemos permitir que Costa Rica sea la que deje que se extinga alguna de estas especies de tortugas solo porque al gobierno no le interesa y porque tenemos pueblos dormidos. No es legislación nueva lo que ocupamos, es cumplimiento de la legislación actual.
Yo creo que ha sido una cuestión cultural que ha hecho que los locales precisamente piensen en vender huevos, saquear huevos, matar tortugas, antes de pensar en el valor económico y fundamental que tiene una tortuga viva.
You gotta try and replicate what Mom does. You do like this. Yeah, because that way it keeps the sides of the walls quite strong.
Una tortuga muerta no vende al ecoturismo que viene a Costa Rica ni a ningún estado. Desde ese punto de vista, ello es fundamental la protección.
Por parte del gobierno de Costa Rica no existe absolutamente nada. Lo que hay de protección en el desove de tortuga es únicamente de ese voluntariado que hay a nivel de ecologistas nacionales e internacionales que vienen de todas partes del mundo, porque yo he conocido en este proceso que hemos tenido en Mollín gente de todos los rincones de este planeta, jóvenes sobre todo, que han venido, que han dejado estudios, que han dejado hogares, que han dejado todo para venir a dedicar tiempo, esfuerzo y cariño en proteger especies aquí en Costa Rica. Por el gobierno de Costa Rica no existe absolutamente nada y nuestras instituciones mucho menos.
92.
92. Ah, it's a good day's work.
Primero le vamos a
hacer huellas y que ellos se van a unir a él.
We are waiting for turtles who are going to be released. I'm excited to finally see some turtles again. Last turtle I saw was like almost 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Sea Shepherd is here for the protection of these turtles, and these community members that are still working alongside us are here for the same reason. If it was not for them, we would not have heard about the threat. We would not have had information about the attack. Without their help, more eggs would be disappearing from this beach and more turtles disappearing from the ocean. We're here because every single turtle we can get back in the ocean might be that one turtle out of the 1,000 that makes it back.
Numbers are no guarantee for survival. The passenger pigeons were hundreds of billions of them, and they're all gone by 1914. So you can't really look at it that way. You can't say, oh, well, it's okay to kill this species because, well, there's plenty of them.
Uno siempre escucha estos tipos de estadísticas. De cada 1,000 huevos que pone una tortuga, una va a llegar a ser adulta. A veces uno de cada 10,000 huevos. Uno oye diferentes números y la realidad es que nadie sabe.
What percentage of the hatchlings even make it in the ocean? What percentage is female versus what percentage is male? Then for those turtles that did make it into the ocean that are female, they still have to survive in the ocean for 20 to 25 years before they're able to produce eggs. If they make it actually into the ocean, the challenge they then face is avoiding plastic, avoiding fishing nets, bycatch, poachers, avoiding ships' propellers. They are faced with so many dangers, even once they've made it into the ocean, that their survivability is very delicate.
Pues vemos que el porcentaje de 1 de cada 1,000 es un porcentaje que responde a todas estas acciones que se están haciendo. No se va a permitir que estas tortugas permanezcan o se le garantice a la especie la supervivencia. Aquí no hay nada sostenible, no hay ningún equilibrio, lo que hay es una irresponsabilidad de parte de la sociedad y una indiferencia del resto de la población que no le importa lo que sucede y no hace nada para detener esta masacre que se está dando.
Actually, a lot of the scientists think that the 1 in 1,000 number might be the actual wild number should there be no problems from humans. Many of us are thinking more like the actual number is 1 in 10,000 that survive now, and a lot of that is due to human-induced problems, largely because of the plastic issues. So much plastic in the ocean that these young turtles are eating and may not survive.
How does that 1 in 1,000 really factor in here? Does that mean that we have to release 1,000 turtles from the nesting habitat, rescue 1,000 turtles in order to ensure one will survive? Are we protecting the animals here only for them to be killed somewhere else? There's still so much data that we don't have in regards to the life and death of these animals.
El pueblo tiene que entender y tiene que comprometerse y el pueblo tiene que saber que no puede solo con darle me gusta a una nota que se sube en Facebook o con hacer un comentario en redes basta. Si el pueblo no se involucra, si no asume esa responsabilidad social que tiene, no vamos a tener especies que defender, ecosistemas que proteger.
Me gusta mucho la imagen de Jerónimo, porque Jerónimo luchó hasta el final. Esta es la situación que estamos pasando ahora en el mar. Yo trato de ser razonable, trato de usar la mejor ciencia posible, pero necesitamos estos cambios. Esto es una lucha y por eso me identifico con Jerónimo, porque yo pienso llevar esta lucha hasta el final.
It's both a dangerous world for turtles and a dangerous world for those who set out to protect turtles. The message we're trying to get across, the most important message is this, is that if the oceans die, we die. The only way we're actually going to protect the ocean is through the passion, the imagination, and the courage of individuals and non-government organizations. We cannot depend upon governments, or at least we've seen no evidence that we can.
Esperamos verlos protegiendo no solamente las tortugas, hay que cuidar también todo tipo de animalitos.
I think education is the key for everything. I did have one moment when I went to the school of Moing, and when I left, one of the girls came running and she hugged me and she told me, "We're so happy that you bring the volunteers and we get a chance to play and learn about turtles." And later that week, her mom came to me and she's like, "I had a huge craving for turtle eggs." And my child started screaming in the middle of the road, going insane, crying, "You're eating a baby turtle! You're a murderer! You're this, you're that, Mom, no!" And I looked at her and I was like, I changed one, my job is done. It's the children who's gonna stop eventually the parents from doing this, and I think that's the only solution of doing anything. I mean, we can keep fighting, we can keep shooting each other every night, but it's not gonna end until we do something with the children.